Back to the breaking news we brought you off the top. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassifying documents that show a, quote, treasonous conspiracy at the highest levels of the Obama administration to manufacture a narrative that Russia was trying to influence the 2016 presidential election. New York Congressman Mike Lawler joins us now. Congressman, it's great to have you on the program. This just broke about an hour or so ago that DNI Gabbard released these documents in a timeline that is incredibly fascinating. To some extent, Congressman, even as early as earlier this week, we broke down and asked the question of whether or not there's not enough focus on President Obama when it comes to Russia. What Gabbard is sharing with us now is the day-by-day and minute-by-minute change in the intelligence community reports after they go to the White House to meet with Obama, wherein they change the narrative of Russia's involvement in our election.
Well, it's extremely disturbing at every level. And the fact is, President Obama needs to answer for this immediately. There needs to be a very clear and unequivocal answer to how this happened and why exactly his administration, in concert with the intelligence community, was changing reports to make it appear as though that Russia interfered in our elections and to further this entire scam that has been perpetrated on the American people to undermine his successor, President Trump. It is just fundamentally wrong, and everything that the American people have seen over the last decade since Donald Trump came onto the national political scene, it has been one event after the next in which Democrats and the intelligence community and the Department of Justice, institutions that are supposed to uphold our democracy, have frankly sought to undermine it at every turn.
And to some extent, I think for many of the audience listening, it is not maybe a revelation they haven't thought, heard, or researched on their own before. I think what's different now is that this is coming from the Director of National Intelligence, and there's specific information on a day-by-day basis of how this changed. And just for the record, so the audience knows, I mean, it looks like the critical moment was around December 9th of 2016. Prior to that occasion, most of the intelligence community was saying no Russia involvement. Around December 9th or December 8th, they go into a meeting with President Obama, come out, and an entirely different message emerges from the intelligence community about Russia's involvement in this election. And let us hope, Congressman, this is the start. And we should have already started, and we have started, but this is not the end of searching for accountability on Russia. No,
there needs to be accountability on this, and frankly, there has not been for years. You obviously had a special counsel appointed after James Comey was fired as FBI director. You get a special counsel that comes in, does a nearly 2-year investigation looking into every aspect of this, and the fact that this information was not uncovered, the fact that it was not part of the comprehensive report that made clear there was not Russian interference and that President Trump did not do anything wrong. And ultimately, those that were engaged in this, both in 2016 and again in 2020, when they tried to say that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, once again, they need to be held accountable. This is not how our elections should be decided. This is not how our government should be run. Those who have the highest levels of power and intelligence access need to be held accountable if they abuse it, and that's what it appears like happened here.
All right, really quickly here, Congressman, you're a New York congressman. Is it possible that the city of New York is going to elect a guy to mayor who has said he looks to abolish private property in Zohran Mamdani?
Sadly, so long as there are multiple candidates in the race, it looks very likely that he will be the next mayor of New York City. You need a one-on-one race. And the fact is, what he is talking about is Marxist. It is communist. He wants to seize property. He wants to seize the means of production. He wants to ban capitalism and billionaires. He wants to tax people based on their race. And whether or not they live in a white neighborhood. This is absolute insanity. It will lead to the mass exodus of New York. New York City is the financial capital of the world. It will not only be destructive to New York, it'll be destructive to America. He must be defeated at the ballot box in November. And that requires everybody putting their egos aside and recognizing whoever has the best pathway, everybody's got to get behind that person.
All right, Congressman Lawler, thank you so much. Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.